Chapter 9. Exchange. They parked along a sidewalk. Booker, Terry, and Lamont walked 3 blocks before heading up the steps to the entrance of an apartment building. Vicki waited outside the car with Hakeem as the others went inside. The garage of a house across the street opened and a Hispanic lady with dark brown hair and light brown skin came out and hung a bright rainbow of new children's clothes from the edges of the garage door. When that was done, she wheeled out 2 more racks of new clothes. The lady acknowledged Vicki with a smile and she walked back into the garage. Vicki could hear the buzzing, whirring, and clacking sounds of a sewing machine deep within. Vicki walked over to peruse and admired the pretty clothes. As she got closer to the garage, she could see the lady making a pastel green, puffy fairy tale dress. She spotted a pink suede pouch hanging from a rack of accessories. It was the size of a snapshot film camera, with a white daisy patch sewn onto the front flap. There was a paper tag with $10 written in ballpoint pen. She took cash out and walked over to the lady at the sewing machine to buy it. "Te gusta?" the lady said with a smile. Vicki nodded quietly with a smile while holding up a $20 bill. She sorta understood what the lady said, but was unable to respond back in Spanish. She'd seen and heard a lot of Spanish while running around Los Angeles with her mom, but not enough to be comfortable with it. The lady handed over change, and Vicki put it in the pink pouch as she slung the strap around her neck and right shoulder. As she walked out of the garage, she heard the sound of bicycle bells and turned to see a man pushing a little ice cream cart up and down the sidewalk. Another man bellowed out, "Fresh elotes," and Vicki saw him pull out hot boiled corn on a stick from a shiny new silver trash can. He slathered it with a white creamy substance and dusted it with a red seasoning powder before handing it to a customer who had stopped for him. The smell of greasy bacon, hot dogs, onions, bell peppers, and cheese reached her nose, and her stomach growled. Vicki looked around until she spotted a lady grilling hot dogs from a little stove on wheels. Vicki pulled out the change dollars from her pink suede pouch and walked up to the hot dog lady, who Vicki was surprised to see was the same height as her. She ordered 2 hot dogs and carried them back to the car, offering one to Hakeem. "Nah, Vicki, it has pork in it. I can't eat pork. You go ahead and eat both." Vicki walked over to the low cinder block wall between the front yard and sidewalk of the seamstress's house and set down the 2 hot dogs. She sat and began to eat. The seamstress walked out of the garage to give a yawn and a stretch and spotted Vicki. She said something in Spanish, and Vicki held up the second hot dog to offer it to her. The lady spoke again and went back inside that garage. She didn't understand, but the seamstress came back with bottles of juice and offered her one. As Vicki ate and drank the juice, the lady kept chatting away in Spanish and pulled out a hairbrush to groom Vicki's unkempt hair. She braided and tied it with a pink elastic band with 2 white plastic flowers on it. "Time to go, Vicki," said Hakeem. Vicki looked to see Booker, Lamont, and Terry walking out of the apartment building towards them, each one carrying 3 colorful metal and plastic kids' lunchboxes in each hand. Vicki walked over to them and offered to help carry the lunchboxes. "This is for you," said Booker as he handed her a pink one with unicorns running in front of a rainbow. "Thank you," said Vicki, who had always carried her homemade lunches in a brown paper bag to school. "I always wanted one of these." The guys put the other lunch boxes in the trunks of the Cadillac and Camaro. Vicki buckled up in the back seat of her mom's station wagon and waited. She opened her new lunchbox to see a cute matching thermos and marveled at the lid that became a teacup with a little handle when taken off. As they meandered their way north, city block by city block towards the downtown area, they made stops at a barber shop, a tattoo parlor, and a music store. The guys handed Vicki a lunchbox to deliver to each one, and Vicki returned to the cart each time with a bundle of bills. "Okay, Vicki, last one," said Terry as they pulled up to the parking lot across the street from a large, colorful building with a lot of light bulbs spelling out the words Gentlemen's Club across the top. He handed her a blue metal lunchbox with pictures of dogs on it. She walked towards the busy intersection and pushed the crosswalk button alone. No one bothered her as she walked up to the entrance, not even the cops on patrol who assumed she was just a kid going to meet her mom after school. She opened one of the double doors and entered. As she walked up the colorful, carpeted steps, her foot tripped on one of her shoelaces that had come loose, and she fell forward, throwing the lunchbox on the ground. It popped open, and out fell a large block of fine white powder wrapped in cellophane. "Hey, be careful with that stuff, kid," bellowed a balding, portly white man, smoking the cigar that gave the air a warm, sugary, sweet smell. He was surrounded by pretty young women with big, goofy hair and wearing a lot of makeup. They were all sitting around a table with 2 bodyguards standing around the VIP section between the bar and stage. "Flour? Sugar? Salt? Baking soda?" wondered Vicki as she gave the block a squeeze as she put it back in the lunchbox. 3 Barbie doll-like young ladies walked towards her to help her off the ground. "You are so adorable," said a blonde with an European accent. "I could eat you up," said a brunette with mocha skin. "You are so cute," said an Asian lady as she took the lunchbox and handed it to their boss. "Thanks, kid. Here's the payment," said the boss with a grin. "When you are older, perhaps you'd like to work for me?" Vicki looked at the ladies after stowing away the cash into her pink pouch. They looked at her in the eye and suddenly gave her a "don't do it" look. "I'll think about it," said Vicki as she gave a bow and headed out the door.